Hi everyone, welcome to FilterLab. In this video I'll talk about what FilterLab is and how to use it. FilterLab is a tool Microchip has created to aid in designing active analog filters. So maybe you've realized that your simple RC filter just isn't enough. What next? The FilterLab tool will walk you through the process of designing an active analog filter to fit your application. Let's take a look. It starts with the Filter Design Aid. Here you can choose to design a low-pass, high-pass, or band-pass filter. You can also go through the design process for an anti-aliasing filter. Let's do the low-pass filter and click Next. Here you can choose the passband frequency and attenuation. Signals within the passband region will not be attenuated by more than the passband attenuation. So in this case, signals 1000 Hz and below will not be attenuated by more than -3 dB. You can also choose the stopband frequency and attenuation. Signals within the stopband region will be attenuated by a minimum of the stopband attenuation. So in this case, signals higher than 10 kHz will be attenuated by at least -80 dB. On the next page, you can choose different parameters for your filter. Choosing to minimize power consumption will make it so that each stage of your filter uses an op-amp with optimized power consumption, meaning it will typically have a lower gain bandwidth product. Minimizing bill of materials means that FilterLab will choose one op-amp that will work for every stage of your filter. You can also choose the E-series of your resistors and capacitors, single or dual power supply and its voltage levels, gain, and the topology of your filter, Sallen-Key or multiple feedback. Let's choose Sallen-Key and click Next. The next page shows a preview of the gain response of your filter. As you can see, it's showing a Butterworth, Chebyshev, and Bessel response. FilterLab will only support up to an 8th order filter, so if the parameters you put in earlier require, say, a 10th order Butterworth or Bessel filter, but only an 8th order Chebyshev filter, only the Chebyshev filter will appear here. Once you've selected the type of filter you want, push Finish and it will show you the schematic of your filter. It's as easy as that. But FilterLab can do so much more than that. From the Circuit Schematic tab, you can download an image of the schematic to share with your coworkers or to remember for later. You can download the bill of materials in a CSV file format. You can download the SPICE code to run simulations outside of FilterLab. You can export the filter schematic to Microchip Mindi Simulator. And here you can change the op-amp of all the stages or of a particular stage. But before we try some of those out, let's see what the response of the filter looks like by going to the Filter Response tab. Here you can see the magnitude and phase response of the filter you're currently designing. You can zoom into the plot by just clicking and dragging a box. In the plot, you will see the current plot in blue, the desired passband frequency with this red vertical line, and the actual passband frequency in the green vertical line. FilterLab has a built-in feature that generates Monte Carlo samples based on your choice of resistors and capacitor tolerances. You can see those samples in dotted red. Double-clicking in the plot will reset the view. You can choose to focus on the different plots using this drop-down menu. And here you can download the plot data in CSV format. But maybe you see something that just isn't quite lining up with what you need for your design, and you want to tweak the response a little. Let's head over to Modify Current Filter. Here you can change the filter parameters that we had set earlier. You can customize the actual filter coefficients like the frequency scaling factor or the Q factor for each stage of the filter. If you change these, be aware that you will be deviating from a typical Butterworth, Chebyshev, or Bessel response. Let's keep this box unchecked and take a look at the Filter Components tab. Here you can adjust these other features we had already chosen. You can choose from a different set of op-amps, like only general purpose or only precision op-amps. You can also choose a specific op-amp by clicking on Choose My Own op-amp. This will unlock this drop-down menu and allow you to choose from Microchip's broad portfolio of op-amps. We even include an ideal op-amp to compare against the Microchip op-amp. Back in the Circuit Schematic tab, if we had clicked on Change Op-Amp, it would have taken us to this tab and selected Choose My Own Op-Amp for you. But we'll leave this off for now. Over here in Simulator Settings, you can see even more responses of the filter. Click on these boxes to enable group delay, input impedance, step response, or noise analysis. You can also show the plot of the previous filter you've designed. This feature will only work if the passband frequency of the previous filter is the same as your current filter, or if the Auto Scale X feature is turned off. Auto Scale Y lets you see all the Y data, while disabling it will force the plot to stay within -140 dB and 20 dB on the Y-axis. Having Auto Scale X on will only show 2 decades before the cutoff frequency and 2 decades after. Disabling it allows you to choose a particular range of frequencies to view. In this section, FilterLab can generate anywhere between 5 and 50 Monte Carlo samples to plot in the Filter Response tab. And here you can set the resistor and capacitor tolerances. If the Monte Carlo feature is disabled, resistor and capacitor tolerances will also be disabled and set to their ideal values. I'll disable this for now and come back to it later. Let's try some of these out. Anytime you make a change to your design, you'll need to push the Calculate button at the bottom of the page. Head over to the Filter Response tab and let's take a look at the different plots. You can see the step response down at the bottom here. If we go back to Simulator Settings and disable Y-axis scaling, let's see what happens. Okay, we can see that the magnitude plot is locked to minus 140 dB to 20 dB. If we disable X-axis scaling, we can see frequencies between these two values. Let's change it to be from 1 Hz to 1 MHz. Then let's choose our own op-amp and try out the ideal op-amp to see how it compares to the one FilterLab chose for us. Make sure to also select See Previous Plot. You'll see that we aren't seeing the orange previous plot because the X-axis range for the current filter is different from the X-axis range of the previous filter. Let's try it again, but this time we'll let FilterLab choose the op-amp for us. You'll see the current plot in blue and the previous plot in orange. You'll notice that for the Sallen-Key topology, we see this upturn here. This is due to the gain bandwidth product of the op-amp. You can compensate for this with another low-pass filter attached to the end of the filter, or push the upturn further back by choosing an op-amp with a higher gain bandwidth product. You can also switch over to the multiple feedback topology, but be aware that it uses more components than the Sallen-Key and it has inverting gain in each stage. Okay, what if we would like to adjust the resistor and capacitor values to reduce your bill of materials? Go to Modify Current Filter, then go down into the individual stages of your filter. If we click on Stage 1 and then Filter Components, we can choose Set Capacitor. Stage 1 is only a first order filter, so if we go to Stage 2, we can see that there are 2 capacitors we can choose from. We can't change both at the same time or else it will affect the passband frequency of the filter. So let's change C21 to be 10 nanofarads. As you can see, this has also affected the upturn down here. You'll always want to make sure to simulate beforehand to make sure that the response is acceptable for your design. To help you do more thorough simulations, FilterLab has this great new feature that generates a Microchip Mindi Simulator file for your filter schematic. Let's try that out. Go back to Circuit Schematic and click Save as Mindi File. When it's done downloading, open up the file in Mindi. The file comes ready to do an AC analysis, so you can just push play and the response you see for gain and phase will match what you see in FilterLab. Now let's take a closer look at the Monte Carlo feature. If we enable it and change the number of samples to be, let's say 20, then push Calculate, you'll notice that it takes a little longer for FilterLab to calculate. You'll see why when we go to the Filter Response tab. You can see that the Monte Carlo simulation isn't just for the gain plot, but for all the other noise analyses as well. If we go back to the filter design aid, we can walk through the anti-aliasing filter. The first step will be to choose the passband frequency. You'll need to know the highest frequency of the signal of interest to determine this value. The next step is to choose the sampling frequency of your analog to digital converter. Your sampling frequency will play a major role in where you will have potential aliasing. Due to the Nyquist theorem, you have to sample your signal at a bare minimum of 2 times the frequency of the signal. Typically, you'll want to sample much faster than that, like 5 to 10 times faster. The next thing we need to choose is the bit resolution of your ADC, and then the desired signal-to-noise ratio. Again, you can choose to minimize the bill of materials or power consumption and adjust other parameters. You'll see the previews of the different filter types you can choose from, pick the one you want, and push Finish. If you want to save your work for later, you can export your settings and import them here later. Just push Export, then when you're ready to import, click on Import Settings, Upload, then choose the exported file. If you need any more help, you can go to the Help file here. That's basically all there is to know about Microchip's FilterLab tool. Happy designing! To learn more about analog filters, check out our Analog Filters video series on YouTube.